We've got two MiniMotos behind us, CFMoto Papio SS and the Honda Monkey in Kase. What are we doing today?
We're gonna do an MPG loop because these bikes are capable of getting over 100 miles per gallon, which is one of the best things about them. And the question is, can the Papio keep that up? Because we know the Hondas can do it.
Yeah, so we just topped both of these bikes up full of fuel. We're gonna take them on a little bit of mixed riding, some highway, some city, a little bit of country roads, and then we'll fill them back up and see exactly what the fuel economy is.
Yeah, so we're starting out at our company ranch here in Berthoud, Colorado. We're gonna leave the ranch, we're gonna head toward Boulder, and that way we'll get a little bit of a mix of highway and city, like you said, and then we'll actually switch off riding so that we eliminate some of our weight and riding style differences and bring them back, top them off, see how we do.
Yeah, I'm really curious. This bike's got 2 extra gears. That bike is a little bit lighter weight, so it's gonna be a close one. Let's get on the road. All right, so we just fired up the bikes. I'm gonna go in here, reset my trip computer. There we go, zeroed out, 0 miles on trip A. Kase is bad with technology, so this might take him 10 minutes. Good to go? All right, let's get on the road. So we're starting off at the TFL Ranch, which is not a place we usually start our videos from. But we had fuel here, so we were able to top the bikes off completely. And we'll end the video at a fuel station. The first mile or so is dirt, but the rest of this MPG loop is gonna be paved. There we go, 0.9 miles, we're on pavement for the rest of this MPG loop. A little bit of country road, onto the highway, then to the city, back to the highway, and we'll end at the fuel station. See you in a bit.
Now we've just finished up riding a bunch of country roads that are around us because our ranch is pretty remote. That's where these bikes are stored. So the bulk of this ride in total is probably going to be made up of majority country roads. And I'm ringing it out as we merge on the highway here. Oh, a little rev limiter.
Alright, we're merging onto the highway now. We've got a short little stint of pretty much top speed action here. Speed limit's 55 and these bikes don't go a whole lot faster than that.
Come on, Papio. That's 4th gear right there. I've still got 2 to go. 50 mile an hour. 51, 52. Shift light is on. Let's go. 54. We're kind of holding steady there. It'll be good that Alex and I are switching off. Oh, 55. Because, yeah, I am notably heavier than he is.
Neither of these are highway bikes at all. They're really tiny. You feel towered over, especially here in Colorado with everyone in their lifted SUVs and trucks. But both of these bikes make just over 9 horsepower. Top speed has got to be really similar between the two at around 60 miles an hour. So they're not great on the highway, but definitely usable on the highway if you need to jump on for an exit or two, which is exactly what we're doing right now. 55. I'm pretty pinned right now. I saw 56 flash up there for a second, so maybe 60 was a little optimistic.
That older 4-speed Monkey and the newer 5-speed stuff, I would say you don't have to work for your power quite as much as you do here on the Papio. This bike is a 6-speed, but you definitely got to work the transmission a little bit more just because the power is higher up in the top end and it doesn't have as much torque. So that bike you can kind of leave in a gear and use the bottom end a bit more than you can on this. And every time we have to accelerate up to highway speed, it's like a fight for my life. Let's go. We're keeping up with traffic okay. This is a 65 mile per hour highway. I'm at 62 right there. So there's no reason for us to get pulled over if we're going too slow and disrupting traffic. And I don't think we're giving cars too much of a reason to be angry. 63. and we're slightly downhill here, so if I stay pinned, 64 almost, yeah. I will say I love that this gauge has quite a bit of information on it. It's got a gear position indicator, it's got my fuel level, of course it's got my speed, and I've got my tach, I've got my trip computers and all that. But just the fact that I've got a gear position indicator on here is really good, because that's not a guarantee in this class of motorcycle. I do wish that the screen was a little bit easier to read though, because especially in bright sunlight and I wear polarized sunglasses, it's a little hard to see. Overall though, I'm pretty comfortable here on the Papio. I think about as comfortable as you can be on a 125-ish cc bike on the highway. This is 126, that one's 124, so near as makes no difference, 125. The bike is definitely high strung on the highway. You're gonna get that with any bike this size riding at these speeds. So my hands get a little numb after a while. I kind of have to work my fingers a little bit to get them to not be so numb. And there's just no way around that. But overall, it's a relatively comfortable bike to be on. Probably not as comfortable as the Monkey, but I'm not suffering.
Alright, we just got into Boulder. We're gonna switch bikes real quick.
It's as good a time as any.
Yep. Got a nice red light here, and we're doing our city riding.
It's always such a big difference hopping on the Monkey. They feel so different.
Way different. It's crazy getting on these back to back.
Yeah, their ergonomics. It takes a second to get used to when you go from one to the other, because you kind of expect them to be similar, but they're not.
They're not at all. 23.4 miles in. What's that bike saying?
23.6, so pretty close.
Yeah, real close.
And we got the green. Wow. Yeah, again, it's just so different.
Oh, this engine feels so different too. A lot smoother.
This bike feels like it's got more muscle than the Papio. It feels like you don't have to wring it out quite as much. So fitting to the looks of both bikes, that Papio you got to wring out a little bit, almost like a sport bike, which is a little bit more the way that it looks.
Yeah, my feet are so much further behind me on this bike. Handlebars are way different too, but the feet is really what you notice right away. Leaned over a little more too.
This one has definitely more low-end grunt. Peak power is at lower RPM. As far as when you're riding, that's going to be one of the biggest differences that you notice outside of the ergonomics.
This is where these bikes are really at home, is the city like this, and Boulder's really a good spot, especially for a mini bike, because it's a city, but it's not a major metro city. Still got lots of fun roads around here. And this is just a great way to get around from traffic light to traffic light in Boulder.
I will say, to the Papio's credit, it has rear pegs and a rear seat, which this Monkey does not. The Grom does, but not the Monkey. Whereas that one, you can put a person on the back. You've got rear pegs there. It's a small bike for having a passenger on, but in a pinch, it would work. And the other nice thing here is that this bike does have that Honda build quality, that certain guarantee of a level of reliability. Not that the CFMoto is going to be unreliable, but this bike is definitely proven. Although granted, CFMoto feels really high quality, and actually that bike is about 20 pounds heavier than this one. You wouldn't notice the weight difference because neither of these bikes feel heavy at all. I would say if you're a reasonably strong adult male, you could probably pick up either one of these off the ground if you can get a good handhold on it. So they're both super light, but this Monkey weighs about 20 pounds less than the Papio.
It's also worth mentioning, we're not trying to eke out every little bit of fuel economy from these as we can. We're riding these bikes normally as we usually would, not changing anything from how we ride just because we're doing an MPG loop. So we're still having fun on the bikes. We're still ringing them out as you should on a little MiniMoto.
Man, early fall here in Boulder, this is a spectacular time to be in town, and especially on a bike, because we've got cool weather. It's about 60 some degrees here in town. The trees are starting to drop leaves. Oh, It's just such a nice time to be riding. This is great. Although school is back in town, so it's a lot busier here in Boulder right now. See you, Boulder. Go Buffs. Woo. All the gals will be impressed by our motorcycles, these manly machines.
Before we get too much further, I gotta give a huge thanks to our friend Scott at Rider Justice. Scott's been supporting TFL bikes since the very beginning, so if you're ever in an accident, whether that be on 2 wheels or 4, make sure you call Scott first, and his info is always in the description of the video.
Alright, we just cruised through a good portion of Boulder, got stuck at a bunch of lights. Now we're back on the highway. Luckily we avoided all this crazy traffic going the other way. And yeah, we're gonna head back to the fuel station now, fill up and get some numbers. Obviously this video is mostly about how these do on fuel. We want to see how efficient they are, but we've done a lot with both these bikes already, so we did a straight up review comparing them to each other. We have videos on both of these bikes just individually. We took them to the drag strip and we drag raced them, so plenty to see with these two bikes if you want more than just fuel economy numbers. All that's available at TFL Bike on YouTube, and you can always go to alltfl.com to see all the latest videos we're working on for both motorcycles, cars, trucks, side-by-sides, a little bit of everything. I know we've tested this before, but I'm sitting right about 55 miles an hour right now in 6th gear, and I still got a little to give it. If I twist the throttle all the way and hang into it, I can get up to like 60, 61 on this bike, so a little higher top speed. 67! Wow! That's pretty good.
Tell you what, Alex, neither of these bikes are going to take a whole lot of gas.
No, it's definitely less than a gallon, that's for sure. These tanks only hold, what?
About a gallon. Gallon and a half. So there's these bars inside the filler.
Yeah.
And we filled up a little higher than that.
A little higher than that, yeah, on the Monkey. A little more. So basically, if you haven't seen one of our fuel economy loops on a bike before, we're just trying to get the fuel to the same level we started, which we took note of. That way we know exactly how much fuel we used.
Yeah, so there's almost kind of a mark on one of these bars.
Yeah, it was pretty much sitting at that like back blue dot. So maybe one more little trigger pull and you'll be good. Yeah, that's right about where we had it.
Pretty good. That's very scientific. 0.3 of a gallon. Okay.
0.309.
So we'll wait. I think we'll calculate both at the same time.
Yeah.
But 0.309 is what we'll subtract to figure out how much we're about to put in the Papio.
Are you going to remember that? Because I'm sure as hell not. So I'm going to take a picture of it.
A little easier to see into this tank.
Yeah. And this one is kind of just
at the bottom of the bar.
At the bottom of the bar, exactly. Give it one more squirt. One more. Yeah, that's about where I had it.
Okay. So that's 0.739. So it looks like the Papio used more fuel.
It definitely did.
Well, we'll find out the exact numbers. So, if you want to pull out your calculator.
Yep, so we had 0.739 was the total fuel used, 0.739.
And both are
minus 0.309. So we had 0.309 on the Monkey and 0.43 on the Papio.
Look, neither of which is a lot of gas. Now, the Monkey is saying we went 41.4 miles, which is not a ton, but on bikes these size, they're only gonna get 100 to 150 miles of range, roundabout. And the Papio and the Monkey were showing about the same on their odometer. So 41.4 for our distance. Let's do the Monkey first. So 41.4 divided by 0.309 is 134 miles per gallon, which is really not a bad number.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, that's, so I remember getting around 115 miles per gallon one time when I took a trail 125 from Boulder up into Estes Park, and that was going uphill, full throttle, pegged the entire time. This was much flatter and it wasn't highway wrung out the entire time. So these bikes really get pretty spectacular fuel economy.
Yeah, that's great. Leave that up on the screen for a sec. Let's do this so we have them side by side. So
yeah,
what
so
were the
41.4.
41.4
divided by 0.43.
96.2 miles per gallon.
That's a pretty substantial difference.
Yeah, I would say so.
So the thing about this Papio is it is a bit heavier. It's 20 pounds heavier. It does have more gears to choose from, which is nice, but I felt like at least in the Papio here, I was wrung out quite a bit more. I was in that top end because your power is in the top end here versus it being in the bottom end on the Monkey. The Monkey you can kind of lug, you don't have to wring it out. I feel like I'm basically taking this to redline through every gear just to keep up with traffic. I don't have to do that on the Monkey.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on this, especially in like first through third gear. You're just right at the top immediately and you're wringing it out. Whereas this, it's got good low end power. And yeah, you really don't need to race through every single gear. You're sitting in the lower RPMs for a good portion of it.
The other thing worth noting too, though, is that this Papio top end speed is definitely better. So off the line, this feels more powerful, but I think partly because of those 2 extra gears, this has the gearing to do more top speed wise. So if you are going to do some highway riding, it's worth considering that this is going to be quicker on the highway. But the entire time that we were riding, we basically had the Monkey in front on the highway the whole time because the limit to how fast we could go on the highway was down to this, not this. The other thing worth considering too, if you're looking at shopping either one of these bikes, is that this Papio is about $1,000 less expensive than a Monkey. So a brand new Monkey is $4,200. This one is mid threes.
Yeah.
That's before dealer fees, everything like that, which is going to vary depending on where you are. But yeah, the Monkey, more economical, so this win goes to it. But man, these bikes are tit for tat on so many different things.
Yeah.
Hard to pick.
I mean, like if I'm shopping for one of these bikes, I'm really not going to look at the fuel economy. This is more about
96 MPG ain't bad.
Exactly. Yeah, this is more about the fun and the competition than actual, buyer's advice on these bikes. 96 miles per gallon, like you said, pretty incredible, and you would have to ride this bike a ton for the $1,000 difference in price to come up in fuel. So
yeah, $1,000 can buy you a lot of miles on either one of these bikes. Both of them get great fuel economy, but really impressed here with the Monkey. 134 miles per gallon is nothing to shrug at. So let us know in the comments down below which one of these 2 bikes you would choose. And hopefully, again, at some point, we can work on getting the other MiniMotos in this class together so that we can do these same kind of competitions with every option that's out there on the market.
Yeah, and one more point. $2.77 to fill both these bikes back up.
I don't think I'm going to expense that.
You're going to expense that? I was just about to ask.
That's not strictly necessary. I think I can handle that one on my own dime.
I could go in and spend more on a soda in there.
Easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty impressive with both of these bikes.
There you go. Check out alltfl.com. We'll see you in the next video.